Hi everyone, it's Rose. Today is Trans Day of Remembrance, and luckily I've got to spend it with some really amazing people. I'm here in Arizona with my family, and so I've definitely been surrounded by lots of love, but I know that that's not true for everyone today, and I just wanted to send my love to those who have lost a friend or a family member or anyone that they know, and even just to lose a fellow trans sister is really, really difficult to process sometimes. This has been one of the deadliest years on record for transgender people, especially transgender people of color and especially women of color. Transgender Day of Remembrance was created in order to both mourn the lives that we have lost in the last year and to also celebrate our resilience and the community that we've created and the ways that we've been able to come together and resist all of the hate and violence that we have to endure. Violence against transgender people is at an all-time high. In the last year, there have been 270 reported murders, and this number is probably way lower than in reality, just because so many murders go underreported, people get misgendered, and so we're unaware whether or not this number is real. What's crazy for me to think about is these murders are from not only strangers and acquaintances, but from friends and family members and lovers. Since the last Transgender Day of Remembrance, more than 25 people have been reported murdered in the transgender community. All but 2 of these people were people of color, and it's just it's not surprising. Trans women of color have a 1 in 8 chance of being murdered, so these numbers just kind of reflect that statistic. I'm going to read the names in order of when they were murdered, and I'm going to start off with India Monroe. She was also known as the Dark Vixen. She was actually murdered in December of 2016, but because Transgender Day of Remembrance happens in November, I wanted to include that one in this count as well. She was from Newport, Virginia, and she died when she was only 29 years old. Misha Caldwell was Canton, Mississippi, and she was 41 years old. Jamie Lee Wounded Arrow was from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and she was 28 when she was murdered. JoJo Stryker was from Toledo, Ohio, and she was only 23 years old. Jaquarius Holland was from Monroe, Louisiana, and she was only 18 years old. Tiara Richmond, also known as Kiki Collier, was from Chicago, Illinois. China Gibson, also known as China Doll Dupree, was from New Orleans, Louisiana, and she was murdered when she was 31 years old. Sierra McKelvey died when she was 21 years old, the same age that I was the day that she was murdered. She was from New Orleans, Louisiana. Alfonso Watson is from Baltimore, Maryland, and she died when she was 38 years old. Ken McFadden was from San Antonio, Texas, and she was 27. Shay Juicy Reed was from Miami, Florida, and she was only 28 when she was murdered. Brenda Bostick, and her name is kind of in debate right now. People aren't completely sure what name she went by. There was just a lot of misreported information on her murder, but she was from New York City, New York, and she was 59 when she was murdered. Cheryl Faulkner was from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she was 46. Kendra Adams, also known as Josie Barrios or Kimbella Rose, she had multiple different reported names, was from Ithaca, New York, and she was 39 when she was murdered. Ava Ray Barron was from Athens, Georgia, and she was the youngest one murdered this year in the United States. She was 17 years old. Ebony Morgan died when she was 28 from Lynchburg, Virginia. T.T. Dangerfield was from College Park, Georgia, and she died when she was 32. Guinevere Riversong was from Texas, and she was 26 when she was murdered. Kiwi Herring from St. Louis, Missouri, was murdered when she was 30. Kashmir Red was from Gates, New York, and he was murdered when he was 28. Allie Lee Steinfeld was murdered at the age of 17, so she tied for the youngest transgender woman murdered in the United States. She was from Licking, Missouri. Stephanie Montez was from Robstown, Texas, and she was 47 when she was murdered. Candace Towns was from Macon, Georgia, and she was 30 years old when she was murdered. I was really, really emotional when I was looking up all of these names of all the people that have been murdered this year who are transgender, and I encourage all of you to look up at least one of these stories and read about their lives. it's kind of overwhelming to listen to all of these names, but I think it's important to remember them and to know them and to be at least familiar with them and be able to maybe just name one person and know what their story is. It's so powerful to share a story. Besides honoring all of these names of the people who have been murdered in the last year, I also just wanted to congratulate my community and say that I love you, I'm here for you, and we've done an amazing job this last year at keeping ourselves together and coming together in order to fight back against all of the things that we've had to face this year. It's not going to be an easy year ahead, but I know that we're going to be okay, and I know that we can do this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Happy Transgender Day of Remembrance, everyone. Rest in power to all of those beautiful souls who were lost this last year.